The Clockmaker'S Lantern. The lantern hung in the clockmaker's window like a small, captured moon glowing softly in the dusk, as though the last warm ember of a dying day refusing to be extinguished. Its amber light trembled against the gathering night, spilling honey gold onto the cobblestones. It was a gentle, breathing glow, the kind that seemed to sense footsteps, recognize heartbeats, and shift its luminance in reply. Passers-by often slowed, sometimes intentionally, sometimes without knowing why, as if the lantern called out to something sleeping inside them. Children whispered that the lantern watched. Teenagers dared one another to approach it at midnight. Adults, those who claimed they didn't believe in such things, still found themselves glancing at it when the world felt unkind. They said the light felt aware, as though it knew stories, secrets, and silent regrets, and held them without judgment. Inside the shop, time was the air-thick, layered humming. Hundreds of clocks lined the walls, perched on shelves, or stood like psalm sentinels in the corners. Their kicks overlapped in a complex symphony, some sharp as tapping fingernails, some low as a heartbeat, some slow and ponderous like the breathing of an old creature asleep. Brass pendulums swung like golden sighs through the dust-mottled light, slicing time into precise, obedient fragments. Clock faces glowed like pale moons, each carrying a different sky of numbers. The scent of lavender wood polish mingled with warm machine oil and old paper, an aroma that felt like stepping into a memory that wasn't yours. A memory of someone's childhood home, someone's grandfather's workshop, someone's winter mornings long gone. Time here seemed to expand and curl into corners like a living thing. At the center of it all stood old Marlin, the clockmaker. His spine curved gently with age, but his fingers remained impossibly steady like the calm at the center of a storm. His white hair curled like strands of smoke, and his spectacles caught the lantern's glow, so he seemed to look at the world through twin suns. Rumor had it that he never slept. Others said he slept only when time itself rested, which meant rarely. None could tell which story was closer to the truth. The lantern was his oldest companion. It did not gather dust. It did not require repairs. It hovered an inch above the counter, never rising, never falling, its glass belly etched with swirling patterns that shifted when no one watched. Some saw vines curling around a crescent moon. Some swore they saw a river carrying a little paper boat. Others saw a girl's silhouette. The patterns changed with each viewer, as though the lantern borrowed images from their memories and etched them briefly into its skin before letting them drift away again. Marlin never questioned the lantern. He simply greeted it every evening with a gentle tap, the way one greets a loyal friend. Some said the lantern held a single stolen minute from the end of the world. Others believed it contained the last wish of a dying star. A few whispered that it held a still-beating heart someone's lost love preserved in light. Marlin, when pressed, would only smile, that faint, enigmatic smile of his, and say, "Every story is true in the mouth of the right believer." One storm-heavy evening, a young woman stepped into the shop. Her name was Clara, though she did not offer it immediately. Her coat was soaked through, dripping silver streams onto the wooden floor. The storm outside gnawed at the rooftops and rattled the shutters like an impatient visitor. Her hands trembled not from cold, but from something heavier, a grief that sat on her shoulders like a sodden cloak. In her palms she held a pocket watch. Its chain was broken, its casing scratched as if clutched during difficult moments, and its hands spun in erratic, frantic loops, then stopped, then jerked again. It was a heart in panic, a story unraveling. "My grandmother's," she whispered. Her voice wavered like a candle flame caught in a draft. It stopped on the day she passed. I don't know why, but it hasn't worked since. It's like it forgot how to breathe. Marlin took the watch with reverence, as though accepting a fragile truth. The lantern brightened the moment his fingers touched it, casting a warm spill of gold across Clara's rain-tangled hair. Inside the watch, the gears quivered like frightened birds. Marlon murmured something words too soft to be caught. Maybe a prayer, maybe a memory. The clocks behind him seemed to hush, their ticks softening into a single collective inhale. She loved stories, Clara murmured, eyes lowered. Fairy tales, folklore, myths. She told them as though they were stitched into her bones. When I was little, she'd say time was a friend, not an enemy. Her breath hitched. I think she believed this watch held part of her. Marlon nodded gently, and something in the lantern shimmered like a ripple of sympathy. This watch remembers her, he said, but grief has tangled its gears. It needs light that understands loss. With emotion smooth as pouring water, he lifted the lantern. It floated obediently in his hand, glowing brighter, warmer. Clara stepped back without realizing it. The air hummed with soft electric warmth. Marlon tipped the lantern. A thread of light spilled from its base, thin as a hair, bright as a newborn star. It curled through the air in a golden ribbon, weaving itself into the pocket watch. Clara watched, tears gathering as the light entered the tiny gears, filling its hollow places, smoothing its jagged stops. The watch began to glow faintly as though remembering how to live, then tick. A soft, steady sound. Tick, another, then a rhythm, a heartbeat aligned with the universe. Clara pressed the watch to her chest. Its ticking blended with her pulse, soothing it, slowing it, settling it. Her tears spilled silently, warm against her cold cheeks. How much do I owe you? She whispered. Marlon wiped his spectacles and placed the lantern back above the counter. Its glow soft to a warm, steady ember. There is a price, he said, but not in coins. He looked at her not with the eyes of a shopkeeper, but with the quiet knowing of someone who has repaired broken things for far too long. You must promise to remember her with light, with laughter, with the softness she gave you. If you remember only the pain of losing her, the watch will dim again. Clara closed her fingers around the watch, cradling it as if it were something alive. I promise, she breathed. When she stepped outside, the storm had weakened into a violet drizzle. The street shimmered with lantern light reflections, puddles glowing like little galaxies. The pocket watch in her hand ticked steadily, faithfully, like a voice guiding her through the dark. Inside the shop, the lantern fluttered gently as the door closed. The clocks resumed their layered chorus, some quick, some slow, all steady. Time flowed again. Marlon exhaled, a soft, weary release, and glanced at the lantern. There's always more to mend, he murmured, and the lantern glowed in agreement, its amber light blooming like a small dawn in the darkness. And so it hung there in the window night after night, watching, waiting, remembering, gathering lost minutes, soothing fractured hours, cradling forgotten stories in its warm, breathing glow. If you passed by with a heavy heart, the lantern leaned its light toward you, offering a gentle, unspoken promise. Time breaks, time heals. And sometimes, if one is brave enough, time remembers.